from a band called Mountaineer.
Yep.
So if you have never heard of Mountaineer,
I hadn't.
they are and I quote from their Facebook, a dreamy post-metal sludge pop band based out of the San Francisco Bay Area. They released their first EP back in 2016, and they were signed to Lifeforce Records back then, who released the band's first full-length, Sirens and Slumber, in May 2017. Lifeforce Records also released the band's second album, Passages, in 2018. This album saw the addition of drummer Patrick Spain. Following the release of that album, the band enlisted guitarists Isaac Rigler, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and Forrest Harvey from Oakland doom band Daxma. And then this new lineup then allowed the band to play live and also brought more songwriters into the fold. So throughout 2019, the band have been hard at work writing their third album, which is called Bloodletting. And it's due for release on May 22nd, once again through Lifeforce Records. Bloodletting was recorded and mixed by Ben Hirschfield at Newtone Studios in Pittsburgh. He also did the first two albums, and it was mastered by Mike Kalajian, I think, at Rogue Planet Mastering in New York. Now, I was not familiar with Mountaineer. How about you? Were you familiar with Mountaineer?
No, never heard of them. Never heard of them at all. Also, when you said Mountaineer, not the genre that I thought they were going to be either.
Oh, really? What did you expect?
I don't know. I hadn't even given it any. You said Mountaineer to me, and I thought, and this is going to sound strange because this album is heavy. I just assumed heavier, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But for some reason, heavier and faster.
Right.
And I don't know why. And then, I should have guessed from your message that came after you listened to the album, which was just oh, for fuck's sake. Where I was like, oh right, this is not what I think it is at all. And I mean, this is post metal.
Yeah, partly. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's to me. That's the main thing. To me, this kind of exists in a similar bubble to a band like Cult of Luna, for example. I think you could probably put these two things together. But Mountaineer have. We were describing all that stuff there about dreamy pop and all the rest, and I imagine some people hear stuff like that and the eyes roll, but there are huge elements of that in here. And this album, you can probably hear it that I'm smiling right about it. This album's fucking rad. I fucking love this so much.
Yep.
Oh man, do you know what the thing is that kind of floored me at first about it is that you spoke about it with the previous album, that bands tend to, in their first, specifically the first song, they'll get all that kind of fillery, build-uppy sort of stuff out their system. Mm-hmm. And then once you get past that, you get into the meat and bones. And so when I first listened to it for the first time, and there's this kind of, it's got kind of choir style vocals singing, and layers and harmonies and all that, and I was listening, I was like, oh right, so this is the build up thing, and then after that we will never revisit any of this, because that is the trick. And no, it's evenly spaced to all these. This is when I joked about Deftones earlier on. There's Deftones all over this as well. I mean, in the best possible way, where there are certain riffs playing and I can hear not Chino-esque melodies, but the guitars are doing things which feel like I've heard bits like that on other Deftones, and then a vocal part comes in which in a similar cadence to Chino without sounding like Chino, so not ripping them off. Those elements are all weaved in here, but at its core you get some huge fucking slabs of kind of post-metal stuff that just pummel. And they are placed perfectly with these sweeping sections where they go kind of cosmic. It's so strict. After the first listen, I was like, I need to listen to this again. I need to go back to. I don't know what I listened to, but I know I liked it. I've listened to this album easily 5 times since you set it through. This one is over 50 minutes long. You get a bonus track on the release that we have been given access to. So
Yep.
I won't say that's on the release that everyone will get, but even if you take that out, front to back, this album is very well written, incredibly heavy. The production is perfect. I mean, absolutely 100% perfect for a band of this genre and befitting the name Mountaineer. And then when you get the shortest song on this album is like about 4 minutes long. The longest song on this album is about 8 minutes long. And once again, this is another band that for the longer songs just flow. Everything flows incredibly well, and I got excited about it because post-metal, I had a dalliance with it for a while, Dave. Like Cult of Luna released that album Vertical, and then I was all about, like, everything was post-metal. Like, I dressed like a post-metal listener. I greeted people like a post-metal listener. And then I started listening to lots of other bands in similar genres, or genre adjacent. And then I kind of went off it, and then went back to my kind of stoner sludgy, groovy, and then synthwavy and all the weird shit that I'd listened to generally. That coming back to this is the first album that I've heard, and I listened to the new Cult of Luna stuff last year, the year before. And I thought it sounded okay, but wasn't as good as Vertical for me. This is the first kind of post-metal album I've listened to in a while where I'm like, I just want to listen to nothing but this genre for the next year. Because when it's done right, it mixes the best elements of that kind of sludge groove aesthetic, but in a more kind of weirdly, clinically slow, deliberate pace. And it opens itself up to be easily paired with lots of different styles over the top of it. Just let that sit as your backdrop, and you can do some melody if you want. You can do the harsh shit. You can take it in directions you wouldn't usually take other genres that are deliberately slow paced, or deliberate paced to begin with. It is a stunning album. It's like, where have Mountaineer been all my life, and why did I think they would be a lot faster than they are? I'm glad they're not.
Well, Duncan, I'm dying to talk about this album, if you hadn't guessed, right? From the texts and messages I've been sending you about this. Let's just start at the beginning for me. The first track on Bloodletting is, quite frankly, one of the best opening tracks I've heard this year, if not the best.
It's fucking amazing.
It's called Blood of the Book. When I listened to it, it was so good that I immediately stopped the album after that track, and I replayed it again multiple times, just that first track. And every time I listened to it, the hairs on my arms and the back of my neck were standing up. And then I didn't listen to the album again for about a week.
Oh.
Alright, and there's two reasons for that. The first was, I was kind of worried that the rest of the album wouldn't live up to that first track, right? And I was going to be hugely disappointed with the remainder of this album.
You had the fear, is that what you're telling me?
I did, absolutely had the fear, or the doom, the fear. I had the fear that the rest of this album was just going to be a downward spiral, just down the ski slope, like this was just going to be terrible. But the second reason was that first track is so well produced that I kind of felt like I was doing an injustice to it by listening to it with my 10-year-old Sennheiser headphones. So I
know where this is going, because obviously we're friends on Facebook, but is this the catalyst?
Yes. So right. I ordered myself a brand new set of high-end headphones. Now, my wife is absolutely raging, alright, but at least I'm listening to Bloodletting in high definition, Duncan, alright?
You're such a fanny, I absolutely love it.
Oh. Now, so back to track one. So, Blood of the Book, as you said, it opens completely a cappella, just like a kind of layered, kind of choral style vocal. Then slowly, there's kind of some kind of clean picked guitars start to kind of bleed into the track, and then the drums kick in. Holy fucking hell!
Yeah,
that drum sound, my god! it hits you like a fucking hammer, right? It is immaculately produced, like very warm and kind of natural sounding, but so hard hitting. And then the track kind of builds and builds, and then you're hit with like a wall of distorted guitars and gravelly vocals, like a kind of cross between like Crowbar, the Mothgarer, and Bosk, like big, thick, doomy chords that are so unbelievably heavy. But after about a minute of this kind of like pounding heaviness, the track then slips into this like Yezu meets Shells type of kind of dreamy sludge moment, where the kind of the clean vocals reminded me a little bit of Devil Sold His Soul, the clean vocals for Devil Sold His Soul.
Yep.
Really powerful, and it was a kind of really like uplifting end to the track. Now, I must admit, I was completely spent after that first track. I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I can go on with this. This is just too much. But what was clear, even just from that first track, is this album isn't just going to be about like bowel loosening riffs, but it's one that's got a lot of layers and a ton of depth to it. And as I mentioned, I was kind of worried that the rest of this album might not be able to compete with that first track, but then The Weeds I Have Tended kicks in, and all was good in Dave's world after that. I was like, oh, thank you so much.
The relief washed over you, Dave.
It totally did. The second track's got a kind of like a weighty kind of heaviness to it, but you can still bang your head to it. But the focal point I felt was more about the melodies on this, like both musically and vocally. It's very, very catchy and kind of like almost like a heavier Baroness, I thought at times. Definitely had that kind of single type vibe about it, like it was the track they would put out first, and I think that was the first track they released as a single. Stunning track. It's then followed up by Shot Through with Sunlight and To Those Who've Said Goodbye. These two tracks sound nothing like Baroness, but they do kind of display Mountaineer's clever kind of ability of kind of blending those like light and dark moments. There's still like an abundance of heaviness, but the clean work that's kind of coupled with that amazing production on these tracks is just sublime. The latter half of To Those We Said Goodbye especially caught my attention as one of these kind of like a huge droning chords, but with like, again, kind of Yezu-esque kind of melodies over the top, which I fucking love. I love Yezu. And those clean vocals were just kind of like the icing on the cake for that track. The title track was another standout. As you probably guessed, there's a lot of standouts on this album.
I wonder what he's going to grade this album.
The self-titled track is like heavier than an Iron Elephant's nutsack. It's like from the get-go, but vocally they go for like a really kind of a deep kind of clean tone that really kind of elevates the chorus on the track. It reminded me of Arctic Sleep a little bit.
Oh wow, yeah,
they use that technique a lot. It's very effective over those kind of the big kind of dreamy sludge riffs. It's a near perfect album for me, to be honest. The only track that I felt slightly frustrated with there was a track called Apart, which is a track that kind of builds towards something for its entirety, and then the ending felt a little anticlimactic. And I thought, maybe it was kind of leading into the next track, which is going to kick in like full force, but it didn't. So that was the only track on it that was a little bit, I wish that would have kind of ended a lot better. But it's followed up by a track called Ghost Story, which is an absolute powerhouse of a track.
Amazing.
Again, kind of showcases the band's kind of penchant for building layers that evolve into these like colossal passages. It feels like the perfect end to the album, to be honest. But as you said, there's a track on the end, a bonus track called Still. Now, reading the promotional material that came, it said that Still comes with the CD and digital copies of the album, so it should, I'm assuming, be on like Spotify and Apple Music and stuff.
Cool.
Bonus tracks, they can work with the flow of an album.
There's usually a reason that they weren't on the original album.
Exactly. I often find with bonus tracks they feel a little like tacked on at the end, like a little misplaced. But in this case, It absolutely works. It's a more kind of melodic affair, although it's still got the distorted guitars. It comes with a lot of the kind of reverberating lead work, and the choice of vocal melodies were absolutely spot on. And then it kind of rings out. I think the last lyric is "I want this to end," which kind of perfectly brings the album to what feels like a natural conclusion. As you've guessed, I absolutely loved this album. Like, and even with that track that kind of felt anticlimactic, I can't score it down. I honestly can't. This is a 5 out of 5 for me. Like, it just hit me on every single level. And usually, like, if an album is perfect, it usually sits like a 4.5. But if I get that kind of like goosebump feeling, then it's a 5 for me. And I definitely got that from this album. It's stunning, like absolutely stunning album. A band, as you've already said, wasn't familiar with at all, but I am definitely going to go back and go through their back catalogue because I loved this album.
Yeah, I'm the same. We're going to have to try and find things that we disagree on, like moving forward. Also, don't expect a 5-star review every single fucking podcast. Yeah, this to me, like, to come across two albums 1 month apart, which both weirdly, like Mountaineer and Catatonia, are similar stories in that, not in the same genre, but they highlight to me the exciting part of blending, not being like grounded or rooted to one specific style, and the ability to cross those and add things where appropriate. You know, like they're not. They are a band that could very easily just do the kind of post-metal, growly, screamy, and heavy as fuck stuff, because they do it on here. They could just easily release a whole album of that, and that would be satisfying, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
But the fact that they are challenging themselves to be creative with it, to add melody where it's appropriate in the songs for the benefit of the songs, I think is the exciting part for me. And that's the point where I think a lot of bands miss out on that idea of you can add melody if you are a heavy as fuck band, and it doesn't mean that your songs are not heavy. It just adds a new element to it. You used I think an expression here about shade, or something about that. It was light and shade or something when you were talking about tracks 3 and 4, and I think that is the whole album. I think the album is huge aspects of kind of dark, kind of weighty shadiness, and these huge moments of like beams of light that come right through and just grab you and drag you through the album. It is no mean feat for me to listen to an album 5 times in 1 month. I just don't do that anymore because there's too much music out there, and I listen to too much stuff. Between that, fucking audible audiobooks and podcasts, I don't really have that much time to listen to things. And when you have an album which is just shy of an hour and I've listened to it 5 times, that's usually a good indication that you're doing something right. I think it is an absolutely fucking stunning album. I mean, I know what you're saying about Apart. It kind of works for me overall. But I can see what you're saying. It does feel like it's leading to something, as maybe almost an introduction into Ghost Story, which doesn't happen. Ghost Story closes out the album perfectly. I like Still. It doesn't need to be on the album. It's a great song though. But yeah, this is like, who are these guys? Why is it taking me so long to find them? And they must stay with us forever. Yeah, this is a 5-star album. It is. Nice. It is fucking brilliant. And yeah, Mountaineer is. Like, if I'm at the end of this year and we're talking about top 10 lists and Mountaineer isn't in that top 10 list, then we have had one of the best years for music ever. Like, genuinely, like, it's that fucking strong. I absolutely loved it.
Agreed. This is the reason that we do this podcast, is to put a spotlight on these kind of bands and these kind of albums. So if you get the chance, definitely check this one out. It's out on the 22nd of May. Same day as Gilligan's Force, I think, and it's out on Lifeforce Records. If you want to check out the band on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Mountaineer Bay Area, and you can check out the band, and definitely check this album when it drops on the 22nd of May. It's called Bloodletting.